counts. Okay, that's all. That's it. That's usually important. And I said, that's Queen Leah, I agree with you. I always under promise and over deliver. Again, this is a way of being. This is not your technical skills. This is a way of being. Are you that person who's truly one of us, who's truly indispensable here? I want to meet you quickly, Cyrus. You're very loud in the background. Joni, you're an employer, so I would love to hear your take on what I'm sharing so far. Coach, of course, I want to hear you too. So,
who is the
that's Cyrus.
It's amazing. It's an amazing picture. I love it. And Michelle, oh gosh, your hair looks really good. I mean, for a blonde girl, you did a good job. All right.
I don't have to curl it. Actually, I just take a shower. I'm lucky when I brush.
Like you got good hair. All right. In case you can't see that. All right. We're just laughing here like girlfriends.
Right.
And
Joni, answer now. So for my question, how do you judge a good worker?
For my guys that I employ, so legit, like I pay them under the table, so that's what I do. That's a painting business, but honestly, when Trump put a lot of his like tariffs and like stuff into place, painting companies popped up all over the place. All over the place. Everyone was like, yeah, I can paint. And that's kind of what I did too. And so it is challenging I remember the three things that you said, but to really be an expert in your field. So I think for me in construction, I can offer expert advice in a lot of different things, whether it be, HVAC, drywall, woodworking, whatever it may be. So you got to showcase the whole thing before just starting in on one in residential construction. That's just what I know. And I can see that with Leah, for instance, she really knows her game about financial investing. And she's like, no, Bitcoin is cherry on the top. And that's true. Like if people try to get into like quick investments, and it's almost always not the right.
Yeah. I've been burnt many times, so so I don't go anywhere crypto anymore. I really don't.
So someone who wants to open a publishing company or start, doing I don't know, ghostwriting. Like you have to have the experience behind you. And so for my company, I put in the years to do it. And I put in the research to do it. I know how to pull permits for the different counties that are here. I know that my degree will follow me. But also, for anyone starting out, it's so scary to take risks. And don't stay in some stupid job that you don't like. Don't do it, because it will you have one life, and so you do have to take chances in the beginning, and then you have to be smart about it.
Yeah, no, for sure. No, that's that. Joni, no, look, do you know those on stage and those in the comments? Let me welcome Dr. Lisa first of all. I can't afford not to welcome superstar Lisa. Thank you for joining us. Glad you're here. I don't care how late you are. You're not really late. You're here, right? And Queen Leah says, employee versus entrepreneur, two different conversations, in my opinion. It's true. Two very different conversations, really. A lot of people think like employees. The point I'm trying to make to you is that if we want more in the work, if we want to get paid more, we need to realize that we have to build this thing called a personal compass, right? That personal compass, really, basically it's about who we are, who we be, as my friends keep saying, right? What now the principles that we live by, that we work by. They're going the extra mile. They've been of the right character. They've been
Honey,
of the
right? Like I'm like your wife.
they've been of the right
Like
spirit.
I job changed, like because I wanted to get higher up. I wanted to get more experience. So I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing.
No, it's no. Look, no. It's not a bad thing.
So
It's a good thing. It's a
think,
good thing, Joan. It's a good thing, right? I
yeah, I
guess.
think like the ambition has to be there. An entrepreneurial spirit, which was what you just highlighted from Leah, versus like feeling like an employee. They are very different. Like it's hard. It's hard to be like a business owner and learn all the things about taxes and managing people and managing timelines and whatever. But I do think that for me, just me, I switched between a bunch of different construction jobs and I kind of did it.
Yeah, you did. I'm saying, right. To do what you've done, Joni, let's accept and let's acknowledge what you've worked on, right? Number one that you worked on, which I'm sure, I don't know whether you recognize it or not. I'm hoping you recognize it. After today, I'm certainly hoping you do, right? The first thing that our employers look for is character. And I remember Coach David was talking yesterday about this expert in a company he used to run, the one who was drunk by 10 o'clock in the morning. That's not good character. Jane is scared. She actually flinched.
That would be. I mean, I have a crew that works for me. They smoke pot all day long. They literally are. They're my pot smoking crew, and I'm like, all right, bros, you do good work. Fine, I'll give you your, 1,500 at the end of the day. But I mean, yeah, it depends on the industry. I certainly don't want anyone drunk. That's
right.
That's a no. And I mean, I don't really drink myself, so
no, the character is one thing. Now, your character carries a high evaluation for others, whether you like it or not, especially when we're paying you for work. If you don't have the right character, I'm not going to pay you more. The chances of you even lasting a minute in my company is pretty much none. The second thing I would say that we look for, that you can work on yourselves, is your spirit. Are you a cheerful person? Are you a helpful person? Are you here with the right intention?
And see, that's where she cornered the market, Jo did. Not only with her looks, she came in like a boss. And I'm going to say this, Jo, because you have kids. You knew how to wrangle people up, right? Like you pretty much knew how to wrangle your kids to get them into the kitchen without them even really realizing it, right? So you were able to bring that to the table with your workers too, without them even realizing it. Okay, well, these ding dongs over here is, I know what to do. And you just kind of whistle the other way, shake the little booty, you get their attention. They're like, oh, the boss is still here. We got to go back over there and we need to do what we're supposed to do. And
girl, you're so nice.
You're being mean about her. You're being mean.
I recognize everything she's saying about me. I really do.
If she's got
there's a reason I'm interrupting
you.
You.
Like be a female and something female empowered and elevating yourself. And so, if they're like, jefe es mujer, punta. And then you actually show what you can do. And you're like, okay, yeah, I don't care about the objectification. You keep your hands off me, but like still, like it's not. It doesn't make me feel sad. Michelle is saying exactly what I agree with.
Right. I'm saying to you, that I'm not disagreeing with Michelle on the superficial level. I'm saying to you, but deep down, what you are, who you are, is based on certain things. Your looks is not one of those, sadly. Your gender is not one.
Yes, it is, Annie. Yes, it is.
Yeah,
oh my goodness.
It's not for the real world. For the real world, it's not.
That's such a male thing to say. Of course, women are objectified by their looks. Oh, this is a whole other conversation. But all right.
Yeah, no, I do believe using our looks is not bad at all, because I've had men.
It's awful. I don't look at. I can never look like you. So if that's someone's standard, it's not going to work. Let's be sure.
But if you are nice,
right? Okay, right. Let's stay down that road.
All right, we're gonna keep on your track. No, that's not true, Annie. That's not
character, spirit, talents, and humanity.
Of course, yeah.
Maybe someone with a strong sense of self-awareness, someone who can manage themselves, the emotions, the energies. All of those are what count.
But emotions are good.
Absolutely. No, emotions. If you can manage them,
really good.
It's good if you can manage them.
I want Coach David to weigh in on this.
Anyway, look, this is your personal compass that you must understand. A lot of people will approach an employer or the market and say, "Oh, I'm worth a lot, so you pay me more." Don't realize that without the personal compass, they're not even started. And the reason that it's so important that we understand our personal compass, who we are, who we be, is because your pay is essentially external validation. You must believe who you are as a person. You must. If you don't, then you don't have a sense of self-worth. You don't. Or at least you're using your self-worth on different standards, which doesn't apply in the real world. It might apply in your world, it might apply in some things you've seen, but the rest of the world is not going to judge you by how you look, whether you're a man or woman. Some will discriminate, don't get me wrong. I'm saying that's not how I choose my employees.
I'm just saying her vibe goes well when she goes for jobs. Her vibes go well, and then also her looks jive with her vibes, and so she's a double sword. She can either turn it into an evil sword, or she can turn it into something, or the sword to where she wants to get the job, and that's empowerment right there. That's owning it.
I agree. Look, I put her, even what you're saying as part of her character, part of her spirit, and the vibe that she brings, right? But I think we need to understand that we need to somehow be able to confidently express our creativity from our souls, with these personal characteristics that we have. Those who can be person who's needed, the person who can do it so well, you're indispensable. The person who does it from the soul, they're paid handsomely every time. Bear that in mind. They're the ones who get paid loads of money because they're valued.
Can I say something?
Of course, Coach, go for it.
All right. So all the conversations, totally, I agree 150%. Michelle B, Michelle Ramos, Johnny, Cyrus, you guys are superheroes. You're on the money. Michael, welcome. Good to see you. You're on the money. All things you've been saying, Professor Roxana, was listening outside. I think I agree. And I'm sorry I have to leave shortly because it's almost midnight in the UK. So forgive me, I have to, dive into a few other activities, and I'm a night crawler. But however, Johnny, good to see you. Thanks so much, Michelle B. I'll just like to say a few things. Whatever the job says as a job spec, there's no negotiation. Ultimately, the business was set up to make profit or by the shareholders for a reason. We as employers and managers can motivate, we can train, we can teach, we can do everything. But at the end of the day, performance and productivity is not a maybe. That's how life works. When our eyes isn't functioning well, we go to the optician or optometrists and they repair it and they get the job done. What if the optometrist now? Oh, okay. What if the optometrist now, give you a pair of glasses that's not working? You go back there and they get it fixed. It's not working. It's not fitting. There is talent and latent. Talent means what is used to deliver a result in this case. And I'm sorry, I used that used. I use the word used. Human beings are not supposed to be used. I'm sorry about that, but that's me just saying straight from the heart. You have a job to do, you get the results, and all of that. At the end of the day, somebody's going to pay for the errors, the mistakes. It is denominated in the profit and loss of the enterprise. So, back to the question of value. What is value? That's it. What is value? How did we calibrate value? What is high value, mid value, low value? At the minimum, what is performance, non performance? We are not sure. So, what is value? It is defined. And how do we calibrate it? How would we reward it? And eventually, how do we multiply it? Or how do we cut our loss as a learning experience? And we go look for stuff. Now, before the day an employee arrives at work, the person must already carry value. There's really no problem that cannot be solved. It's more of the attitude that's the problem that we cannot deal with. If the attitude, someone that can't even learn, someone that can't even take, I have some behavioral patterns that is a no. There's nothing you can do about it. You're not a weak CEO. Like Cyrus said yesterday, you got to need to go up the ladder yourself. And there's no time. There are 10,000 people in the same market who can give you the result you're looking for. Why are you in the wrong car? We're going to motivate, we're going to train, we're going to do all the intervention. Ultimately, value is king. And you mentioned internal customers and external customers. If I can't get value from an internal conversation, how are we going to treat outsiders? And by the way, image is part of professional etiquette. How you look, how you sound, how people feel about you. The higher you go, the more these things become very important. In the beginning, it may not matter. But as you begin to grow in your career, people must feel they want to work with you. There are people that are bullies. There are people that are very effective, but they are bullies. They're going to end up as senior professionals. And at the end of the day, you take the value and don't want to talk to them again. There are people you see. I've got a very strong barber in Lagos, and I'd had him since 2007. If I'm in Lagos today, all the days from when I could do the punk till now that I have to be like any, where I am semi-bald, so I have to skin it all, painfully so, because I don't like to be like any. But you see, I got a barber who I always go to Lagos to see because we'll sit down and we will gist. When he finishes barbing for me, I will pay him extra because there is a feeling. Because what he's selling to me has gone beyond just barbing my hair. I could do that at home, but he's a brother. His name is John. I have another eatery or restaurant where I eat because they have the staff that right next door, there's somebody who has slightly better offer in terms of the dish. But the service that the staff in restaurant A gives me brings me there. Based on the business model, I must hire people who have very strong customer service etiquette, who have the smile. I used to go to an eatery in Lagos many years ago, and there's a young lady whose queues are very long, and the next person, the queues are very short. I'm not playing. Anytime she's on duty, the queue is always very long around her. And so one day, I'm a social scientist. I love to watch things and observe. I went there to sit for 3 hours. I put a meeting at that restaurant. I just wanted to see, it's a takeout, just to see how she's behaving. And if I had a customer service job, I will hire her. There's an attitude. She goes to your daughter or son, and you have a toddler with you. Hello, how are you? Then she brings sweets to work from a mega salary. And then she takes the sweets, and then she gives the young girl. And so the children keep disturbing their parents. They want to go to the store because they're going to get free candy. Now, her queue started getting longer, and she has a smile, an attitude. She knows the name of your daughter or your son. Oh, she said, Michelle, how is that your little boy? How is he not two now? And she's serving you quickly. She's doing everything. You want to be around her. About 3 months later, I was going one evening about 10 p.m. and they're the only ones open. They close by 11 p.m. And I said, oh, where is this lady? I think her name was probably Augustine or something like that. I said, oh, she got a job with a bank, GT Bank, and that she's now customer service in a bank from a salary of just about 20,000 naira to about 220,000 naira. When you do well on your job, you acquire higher skills, and it's a matter of time you're going to go to a bigger place. So if you're an entrepreneur who is paying rent, you're not an excursion. You're burning rent. You're burning stuff. Why are we here, for example? Some lazy person will even find it difficult to even watch the replay. Find it difficult to scroll back on the screen just to listen to things. Why are we here? Everybody here is busy. Why are we always want to contribute value? Why am I awake at night? Somebody asked me, you did another certification? Yes. Why are you doing all of these things? I started laughing. They can't understand because you just want to be valuable the more and the more. The less value you have, the more the world will commoditize you. Sorry, I'm speaking for too long. I said I was only a minute. But seriously, at the end of the day, productivity is king. We can't run anyway from it. Thank you. Our kidneys, our livers, our eyes, our ears, our teeth. Imagine your teeth cannot bite cake. What's the use of the teeth? So,
no,
apologies.
Thank you so much, Coach. You stole my notes. I can see you stole my notes. I mean that sincerely. There's many things you say which I think are so important. I'll address that. Thank you. If you have to go, I understand, of course. Thank you for joining us, for sharing. Omar, Mr. Zoom Party, glad you're here. Thank you so much. So Coach Ashif says, soulful looks are gravitating. Some looks, looks can be compelling, but when you run a business, you can't afford to work to even take notice of people's looks. Otherwise, you get in trouble, right?
And can I just make a 30 seconds comment? I agree. I agree that soulful looks pull more, but it's also a type of value. It's a type of value. However, it's also criminal for you to come into the room. In my days when I was interviewing, it's criminal for you to come into the room like the one we're looking for, only for you to open your mouth and your tenses are everywhere. You appear like the doctor, or you appear like the engineer, or you appear like the customer service expert, or whatever. And then by the time you start performing on the job, your image is a far cry. You have over-postured beyond your delivery. You've set yourself up. You're a fraud. It's a fraudulent attempt. So looks can sustain the beginning, but you must please have, it's okay to look like the world. It's okay to look like a rock star in terms of professional look and feel. If you work in professional services, you work in consulting. You can't afford to be a drunkard like the guy yesterday. But however, because I can't trust my numbers and my future to your drunkenness. But if you are in the creative industry, oh man, you are able to do all these things, provided the result you give me breaks the clutter. Because when you're in the creative world, there's some enfant terrible character. You need to be an outlier behavior to succeed there consistently. To be a creative director, to be a copywriter, to be an art director, you got to always be in a certain high mode. That job requires that. But whatever job you do, you look nice. Let's say at 8/10, but don't do work that's 1/10. It's a mismatch. You're trying to defraud us by your look and feel. So that's my. It must be true. It must be true. If you select 7 as your number, your dressing must be 7, your speaking must be 7, your delivery must be 7, your acting must be 7. It must be through the line so that there's congruence of resources. And there are also people, who are totally overconfident. They don't know nothing. They really think they know a lot. Those are also another category because they've been to a few schools and done a few degrees. I mean, you'll be really. There are people who think that the MBA they had in 1972 or the MBA they had 2 years ago means anything in the real world. Is the result. What can you deliver? If you write for me, just write 10 lines. See one of my beautiful examples. I give people a piece of paper. I say, write 10 lines about the weather. Okay, make it 20 lines. I just want to see, there's a skill I'm looking for. I want to see your ramble. Or I tell you, speak for me for 10 full minutes. about the worst day of your life. I'll just be listening to you, just looking at you. There's a lot of things I'm checking for. People are not even ready. The examinations of life and success have no timetable.
Mm.
The day you're going to be tested for the next level, you might not even have a script. The question is, did you show up ready?
Mm.
Look, I'm your boss, in quote, or I'm your manager, not your patient. The patient is patient because he requires a service from the doctor. In terms of business, the board, the management is waiting for my result. People put money and investment in the business. At some point, I must cut my loss and I must stop being a patient who is patient, and we must switch the flip. Not easy for a very kind person. Do you know there's employee weaponization? Why people really weaponize your kindness? They know you're a kind person. They now start buying sentiments, start lying. Oh, my dog gave birth yesterday. Apologies to all those who have dogs. Or my chicken is not feeling fine. Therefore, the entire family is. This happens a lot in Africa. There are people who now use familiarity and familiarity. You did a mistake. You begin to prostrate. Prostrate how we greet in Africa for the people for context. You see an elderly person, you prostrate. No, don't prostrate. Deliver the job. Oh, hello, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. It rained in our area and my wife just gave birth to twins. Glory to God. Congratulations. I can even send you a gift. Deliver my job. He's a very callous boss. No. Deliver my job.
That's what I want.
It's very insensitive. No, please deliver my job.
It's not insensitive. Look, I wanted to say, actually, Coach Ashif's point, we need to bring our true skill set, confidence, attitude, devotion, and delivery. These are the things that provide precious value. We need all these things. We need to bring all this to our job. Those who don't bring this full set of things, this things Coach David is talking about, you'll get found out. Of course, you'll get found out. And the bigger issue for me is that you don't believe. If you don't believe you have these things that in the way that we need in this company, in a way that serves our customers, you're not giving value. You can't give value. If you for 1 second think in your head, am I really that person? You're done. You're done in this company because you clearly, and you're done also in terms of getting compensated in the highest amounts. The one thing I want to leave you with today is to understand that you deserve to have the highest level of compensation. You deserve to be recognized as the greatest there is. We all do. But to do that, my friends, we must follow the law of compensation. Make sure what we do is what people need, number one. And then make sure that we are so damn good at it that we become indispensable. Irreplaceable is the word. Is the other word for it. This is not fantasy. This is reality. And I don't understand. There will be some variations. Coach mentioned something I think is really important. See, if you are this person that we're talking about, the person who has this role that is necessary, and you're so good and you're indispensable, then begin to create what Coach mentioned, a personal brand. Begin to dare to say, here is what I believe. Here is how I live what I believe. In other words, you have to align your efforts to your ideals, your values, right? When we do that, when we live and work in line with our values, and we'll give our best at all times, take it from me, naturally, you will see the results, and also you will grow as a person, and then you will get the rewards, the compensation that you want. If you just live your true self, your true abilities, your true person, compensation is guaranteed. But you must develop that personal brand. In other words, showcase your worth, right? And endeavor to be seen, to be heard. to get more recognition from more people for your efforts. If you do good work, no one sees it. What am I to say? Wow, sorry about that. I'm not going to pay you more because you're a nobody still. I'm saying let's stop enjoying being nobodies. Let's share our area of expertise. Let's share our passions. Let's share our unique perspectives, our unique solutions. Let's be brave enough to say, "This is me. I am that guy." My son says, "Dad, you're not that." I know. I said to him, "I am that guy. I am the any." You know that one that everyone knows? Yeah, that's me. In other words, I'm not shy about who I am. You know, create a clear identity of who you are. Create a clear image that everyone understands and everyone can communicate in it. An image that tells other people, this is me. This is what resonates with me. This is what my clients need. And I am that guy, that girl, that lady. I am that person, right? Don't be scared about sharing your story. You know, don't be scared about giving people an insight into who you are and where you've come from. See, part of your character, part of who you are, who you be, comes from what you've been through. Use those experiences to foster connections, to build those connections with customers, internally, externally, with stakeholders. But your personal brand must be that person who builds genuine connections, as we said, has the right mindset, and provides outstanding products, outstanding services, content, and interactions that make everyone go, wow. Really wow. Right. You know, I say all that because I know everyone on stage has that personality, with those people, right? You know, so I think I want us to embrace that part of us. Now,
I embrace it, Annie. Unfortunately, just before I got on here, though, Lydican's not embracing it and letting me comment again. So
that will fix itself in good time. That will fix itself.
I know.
We know it fix itself, right?
You've got to honestly believe that you are your biggest asset, and you really got to believe in yourself, or you're not going to go anywhere. And
truly, you know, can I add one more point quickly, Michelle? And then I'll shut up and let Sarah speak as well. Look, you know, let's be the person who understands that our pay in our job is not necessarily the only financial reward there are, right? I said, if you're this person who builds relationships, this person who has a personal brand, this person who does incredible work, you will attract money from various sources. Partnerships, collaborations, speaking engagements, book deals, more. You know, you are not, the fact that you are this special soul who every business needs doesn't mean that you are a transaction. Doesn't mean that, you know, you're simply there for the money, right? You know, you must be on the mission to do the right thing. And the right thing, my friends, is quite simple. Live your purpose, right? You need to work out how all these qualities you have, all the things you've been through, can genuinely address people's needs and make their lives better. If you can combine the person with that simple intentionality, existing simply to address people's genuine problems and make an impact that's going to be long lasting, I guarantee you the money will come. Money follows. Money, if you do good work, give lots of value, money will come. If you have to start poor, if you have to start free to get started, so be it. I'm talking about the money will come in good time. If you do good work, the money will come. If you make a difference in people's lives, the money will come. If you make yourself coachable, as Coach Ashif says, you keep learning, you keep developing, you keep getting better and better, the money will come. It's guaranteed. Do you know why? Because the law of compensation says if you are that good and you do something people need and you become indispensable, you will get paid more. If not necessarily in my company, in another company, someone else will pay you more. Hell, you go and do it yourself, run your own business and earn even more. I'm saying you have to believe in the law of compensation because it's how we live. It's what guides all of us. Let me stop talking. I've talked way too much, right? Like Ashley said, authenticity pays the pass. It definitely does. It definitely does. Henry, thank you for joining us today. And thanks for sponsoring this super important conversation about compensation, packages for LinkedIn content creators and workspace. There's so many compensation boosting approaches that other gig workers have used successfully that weren't covered. I agree. Look, this is a huge topic, and I choose a topic for our event, and then when I turn up, I'm like, when I do my research, I'm like, this is so big, but I don't like breaking things up too much. I'm giving you just the surface materials today, Henry. Now I'm just giving you very basics. You know, I may find a reason to delve more into one or two of the topics as time goes on, but today I want everyone to just understand that your personal compass matters. Who you are as a person matters. It really does. You know, and your intentionality about giving value matters. And you give value in many ways, not just one way, right? You know, it's part of who you are rather than anything else. Mr. Cyrus, let's hear from you, my friend.
Hi, Yanni. Hi, everybody. Doing? Hi, how's it going? You all right?
I'm all right, mate.
Good to see you guys. Annie, I think Joni was right. You know, people do shake their booties sometimes, and I think Annie's being jealous because he can't shake his booty and get the results he wants anyway. So now, joking aside, I just wanted to first say hello and good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everybody. Michelle B, Michelle Ramos, David, our coach, and Professor Roxana and Joni, who were on the stage as well. I just wanted to thank Ashif as well for his beautiful comments in the comment section. They're fantastic. Henry as well, fantastic comments. Thank you. Regarding the subject matter that is being discussed, I'm not sure if you guys can see my screen. Can you see that? I hope you can. Michelle, can you see my screen?
I can.
We can. Sorry.
So I was gonna share my formula for law of compensation. It works for me. I hope it works for you guys as well. It's really good, especially if you're head of an organization or if you're a decision maker. So in this formula, I've got NAUCO. So let me give you an example. I'm going to give you two CEOs examples, and you can decide who's better. So how much they need you. The N stands for need. How much you are needed in that market. Okay, that decides how much your product, how much your service is needed. Times, it's a formula, right? So that N, need, times A, your abilities. Okay, so how much ability have you got, right? How good of a leader are you, right? And how good of an employee are you, right? Which in turn, that decides whether you're going to be replaceable or not, right? How much is your ability? Then U stands for uniqueness, right? Or replaceability. Is there only one or two of you in that organization, or is there more, or is there less, or are you the only person? That decides if they're gonna replace you or not. That can decide the future of your career as well. For those of you who are really, really reliant on your job, if you're the only breadwinner in the family, if you want to find out how fast you're going to get promoted or not promoted, or if you're going to get made redundant, this U bit is very important. Okay, so then the next one is times CO, consistency. So are you good this year and terrible next year, or are you good across the board every year, right? So So that formula works. I'm going to post it in the comment section later anyway. So CEO number 1, Sarah, she's CEO of a green energy startup. It's a company. So in terms of N, she scored 9 out of 10. Ability, 8 out of 10. And uniqueness, 7 out of 10. And consistency, 10 out of 10. She scored 9 times 8 times 7 times 10, 5,040. Then we have Mark, the second CEO. Again, out of 10, he scored 4.
Fire Mark, quick.
Yeah, sure. So, sure. So in the end, as you can see here, 1,800 for Mark and 5,040 for Sarah. So as you can see here, the formula, the law of compensation, right? It's not just a formula with one constituent. So you can be good in some areas, you can be bad in some areas. Okay, so the more the areas you're good at, the more chances of you staying in that position and ruling over that arena that you're supposed to be ruling over. So the result that I just put here is Sarah scores much higher because her work solves a bigger future-focused problem. And as you can see, Mark is the traditional office supply company, right? So there's many of them. They are very, very highly replaceable. If I don't get my stationery from this company, I'll get it from the next company, right? So it doesn't really matter. Plus, these days, we don't use stationaries that much. So as you can see, the future, Sarah is more future-oriented than Mark is, right? So how much you are needed is going to be a very important part of that formula that we talked about. So because I'm in Annie's session, may I please remind everyone?
Every step forward is a new beat to your drum. Achieve success with global.media.com. Let's celebrate it with or without champagne or rum. Achieve success with global.media.com.
Thank you, Cyrus. You're a star. Look, I should tell them every time I play it, which is every live event I do, that you are the creator of that music. If you don't know my friends, he definitely is. But Cyrus, thank you so much. Look, you brought the law to to life with the formula. I say that gives you explained my thinking. I wish I'd spoken to you beforehand. Really, really. I wish and I want that calculation. Coach, I agree with you. That's a solid model for delivery, value delivery, Cyrus. It really is. And this. See, I guess many of us just, we think compensation is luck. We think compensation is haphazard. In reality, there's a formula. This is what my friend are talking about this today. I've learned there's a formula, and there's a formula if you want more. That's the point. Cyrus, thank you so much for being a genius, my friend. You're a star. Michael, I want to hear from you. I haven't heard from you. Have we heard from you, Michael? At the beginning we did, I think, but then you fell off the stage. Michael, what's your thoughts so far? Well, we're getting towards the end. I can't keep you much longer, right? Michael, you're muted. Don't know whether we're going to get to Michael. Oh, Michael, you've unmuted. Talk to us. No, I can't hear you. No, I can't hear you. Damn. Unfortunate. Really unfortunate. Now, please restart your device, Michael. We'd love to hear from you. So do restart your device and say, of course, you're still here. Coach says it calls it value engineering, right? Now, my friends, look, there's one part of things I really want. There's one part of this conversation I really want to elaborate on. We'll talk about giving value. You give more, and you give more. No, you give value that way, right? That's what giving value really means. Give more than people expect. Give more than people pay you for. I go back to a lesson I learned very early in my business, which is that no one is going to pay you more unless you're willing to do more than they pay you for. You're never going to earn more than you do if you're not willing to do more than you're paid for. Right. That's the truth.
True
That's
story.
truly. Right. So how do we build on this giving more? There's formulas for everything, right? If you want to give more.
And can I say something? I have literally, literally 3 minutes. 3 minutes. Michelle Ramos, I've not seen your face. Michelle Ramos, not seen your face, not heard your voice. How are you, by the way, Michael? Good to see you here again. So it's a very brilliant strategy. The rule is, when you give more, eventually your job has to also give you more back. It may not be from this employer. You now become a repository of value.
Hold on to that. That's it. That's it. He's got it.
Yes.
That's it.
Yes.
By law, if you do more,
competent,
what will come back at you? That's the law.
Yeah. Yes. Go get competent. Go get competent at a higher level. And Cyrus actually added another dimension. Make sure you are thinking about future value and direction of the industry beyond your current job spec. What are the new trends in the industry? What are they doing in the industry? What does AI mean to your industry, for example? What does global warming mean to your industry? Contextualize and reposit your position in the context of the big problems of society. Re-engineer the problem to a bigger scale and to a bigger space. Then the skill gap you need to grow in preparation for the future will immediately show up to you. If you keep doing the same job you've been doing repeatedly, look, I can't believe there are no typists anymore. There was a typing pool. I grew up in my secondary school days knowing the typing pool. There are going to be 100 typists in the place, typing. And it's a big deal. All of a sudden, the laptop came. And I remember my uncle telling me, oh, there will not be any typists anymore. And one of my late aunties, who was a typist and put a take notes in meetings, was telling him that he was talking about the rash. Now, this family meeting I held about 5 years ago, and that uncle was laughing at her and asking her, where are the typing pools now? She said, they still exist, but they are gone. So there are many job roles that are going to go extinct because of some of the conversations on the table. Today, copywriters in many agencies, because of ChatGPT alone, script writers must reinvent. So the future direction of where things are going is very important. And my dad tells me something all the time. He's an engineer. He says every 5 years, minimum, if not 2 years, you must do a knowledge audit, looking at the future, the industry, and how ready and relevant you still are. You may be on the job for 30 years and you're totally outdone. You're totally irrelevant and you don't even know. So if you don't do more than the job you're paid for today, every day you don't do more than what the job spec says today, that day is -1 on the scale. You've gone to irrelevance more. You're becoming a dinosaur. Every day you do more, you've added +1 on that scale. Every second, every minute, the more you do more, the more you are getting ready and tuning up. And the more you do what is just required, you're so happy to go home at 5 p.m. So happy to do what is required. You are tuning out. You're getting lost gradually. One day, either the job leaves you or you leave the job. So that's the bigger point on that. I need to go now on the hard leave.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. You're a star. I'm sure we're going to talk about this in one of your rooms soon, Coach.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, before David goes, let me say one thing. I believe he's been reading my notes and he's been copying me. I consider that copyright.
It's got this bad habit. It's got this bad habit of being a fly on the wall, right?
I think I'm owed money. Have a good night, David. I'm going to be dreaming of the money that you're going to be compensating me. And you should also do the same. I think we can come to an agreement tomorrow. That's for sure.
Gentleman agreement. Thank you, brother man. Michelle Ramos, good to see you. Michelle P.
It's always a pleasure to be on stage with you.
Oh, same here. You guys are superheroes. Thank you so much. Have a good evening, guys.
Bye, Coach David.
You too.
Thank you. Bye.
So, Michael, which of your notes didn't he steal?
I mean, good gosh, it's like all of them. this fellow David, he's just coming too close, But it's also like, just people want to be like me, So I don't mind. Earlier today, Michelle was responding to you like as if she's me. It's fine by me also. Hey.
You're copying Michael. Look, Coach Ashif again, and I'm with you entirely. When we align as this universe, it pays to match. When we align, when we work in line with our purpose, our values, truly what's important to us, and when we live as our purpose and help the universe, it pays us back. That be the law of karma. What goes around comes around. Yeah, and the law of again, I'm sure that there's a law of reciprocity. You have to you give to receive. Not necessarily from the same person, but literally, when we give, the universe pays us back. Always does. It's for us to learn how to truly give, right? Again, let's say I want us to sort of go away with with things we can do. I was saying earlier, let's work out on a sheet of paper if you have to. It's just elaborating on Cyrus's formula. Where are you? What are your individual? What are your personal skills? What are your talents? Technical skills, give yourself a score. List what they are. Creative abilities, give yourself a score. Again, list what they are. Emotional intelligence. Which part are you good at? Are you good at self-awareness? Are you good at emotional regulation? Are you good at the motivation part? Are you good at empathy? Are you good at social cues? Which maybe you want to do as a whole. Where are you in that characteristics? What are your personal strengths? Now, what other gifts do you have? List them all, right? Once you listed them, my friends, now you want to ask yourself question number 2. Question number 2 is quite simple. It's not easy, but it's simple. Here's the question. You need to ask the second question, the second column. Which of my offerings that you just listed truly make a difference to meeting the needs of the people that we serve and uplifting our communities? Which of those skills really do people really need? And then create in your mind's eye, envision the change that you can truly make, that you want to make, that you're willing to put effort into to bring into reality. And that's number 3. And the last one you have to do, my friend, is simply showcase your talents generously. Share them with others. Let people enjoy your talent. Let people enjoy your gifts. This is what it means, right? This is what it means to give more. Don't just sit there letting your talents rot away or be underused or to underserve. See, when you truly know you and your personal gifts, when you truly align those gifts with serving people to meet their needs, when you think of change on a big scale, and when you have a personal brand, when you're known as a person who does that way, believe you me, opportunities will come to you that you've never dreamt of. And that cycle of reciprocity suddenly becomes real, it becomes a thing, right? It's by giving selflessly, ultimately, my friends. Give selflessly, and the universe will give back to you. That's the game. That's how you get paid more. Lower compensation in a simple nutshell, my friends. Michelle, you've been very quiet. Michelle Ramos, that is.
Oh, I was gonna say.
What is it that you would like me to say?
Are you agreeing? Does it make sense in your way of looking at the world?
Does what make sense?
Everything we covered so far.
I think that ultimately the work that you're doing is going to be dependent on what it is that the purpose is. You're either working to live or you're living to work. When I work to live, that sucks, and it's not ever going to be financially compensated. It's going to be survival mode, and it sucks.
Yeah.
But when you are working and it doesn't feel like work, and you are positively impacting, you know, society and future generations to come, you know, that what money value are you going to put on that? And for me, it is my self-worth is not to be determined by any outside source, because don't nobody know the steps I've walked and endured to make a decision on what I'm worth.
Yeah. Look, I agree entirely. Look, now there is that whole fulfillment thing, you know, that personal, I guess, the thing that gives us joy, right? You know, we have to work
It
on
isn't
alignment.
even joy, because the cost emotionally you pay to be encouraged and disciplined to follow through with a conviction to live in your purpose. That's what I'm saying. You know, the financial value to tie on that is what makes me unaffordable. I have the knowledge I have because of the pain I have survived.
Yeah. No, and look, that pain is valuable, right? Let's be sure that, you know, the what we learn through life makes us who we are. You know, and we have to learn to bring those qualities into our work. So again, a lot of people don't bring their true selves, their full selves to work, right? You know, so I think we need to learn how to truly be.
I think that that's a very unfortunate thing, and that more of humanity globally really should start looking in the mirror and taking off the mask that they wear at home, even once they're no longer in front of society.
Yeah, no, I agree. No, I don't know whether they're unwilling to ask the next question, Michelle, which is, how can I use this to help others? How can I truly build on this to change the world? Because
the thing is, it all boils back down to looking in a mirror. If you cannot look in a mirror at the end of your day, and you cannot truly look yourself in that reflection and say, I did my best, there was nothing better I could do. And then when you wake up the next day, that's the same intention. As long as you have done your best, what does it matter what any outside reflection is? Only you know what your best is. Only you know how you feel. Like, it's subjective.
Yeah, subjective. No, but I think, you know, look, subjective requires personal honesty. We have to be honest with ourselves, because, you know, so if we don't,
there's not many humans truly 100% authentically honest with themselves. Hence, I live a very, you know, my life is in solitude for the most part for that reason. I can't handle misconceptions and white lies and fabrications. Like, fuck that. Be real. Keep it 100.
I agree. Let me show you a video quick before we can wind up. Of course, Michelle B, I'll come to you as well. Let me show you this video quick. I think, you know, it makes the points. One of my learning pieces for today. Yeah, it's the right one. I think it is. Let's do share. Let's do play. Hopefully there won't be any ads. Hopefully. I don't know.
To do it. Get really good at it. Now, if you get very good at it, the third one's going to be looked after. You're going to be very difficult to replace. Very difficult to replace. Let's reverse the whole thing. Let's suppose there's not a great need for what you do, and you don't even do what you do very well, and you'd be very easy to replace. But I mean, you just couldn't earn very much money. But if there's a great need for what you do, and you're very good at it, you're going to be very difficult to replace. Your stock is going to go up. Now, I didn't always know this. I went to work for Earl Nightingale, and he referred to this as the formula for increasing the amount of money you earn. And, you know, when he first talked about it, I thought, that sounds like a good thing to know. And so I started to study it. And I never stopped studying it. And I'm absolutely fascinated with just how accurate this is. And the really crazy part about it, not many people understand it. Now, that may sound strange, but there are not many people who understand. They do not teach this in school. Most families don't teach it to the kids. So the odds of a person learning it is very slim. Now, you may think this is, you know, sort of Pollyanna, or maybe not that important. I'd recommend you really think about what I'm saying. It's helped me earn millions of dollars. I started out with nothing. I started out reading this book. I was earning $4,000 a year. Within a year, I had multiplied what I was earning by over 40 times. Now think, there's no end to what you can earn. There's no end to what you can do. If you really want to multiply your income, pay attention to this law. I will repeat it once more. The amount of money you earn is always going to be in exact ratio to, number one, the need for what you do, number two, your ability to do it, and number three, the difficulty there is in replacing you. It's a great law. It's one that we want to make certain all our children understand. It's one that we want to adhere to. Multiply your income. This is Bob Proctor. Thank you.
You know, I do start my day with Bob Proctor most days. You know, because I guess, you know, my mindset school, you know, he's the one that's created my mindset school that I'm learning mindset from. You know, so I am truly always amazed, you know, to learn from him. You know, he passed away recently. You know, but from those who are from the Bob Proctor school, you know, we know the value we get. LinkedIn user, thank you for joining us. I have no idea who LinkedIn user is. Yeah, it could be Christiana.
I think my answer to that is that I'm an anomaly, and I'm just
why are you an anomaly?
I mean, who the else gets stabbed at 8, wakes up with a colostomy, loses their memory, 3 hip surgeries with 3.5 years in a wheelchair, learned to walk again, weighed 500 pounds, maintained a 280-pound weight loss for 10 years, had 12 brain surgeries and brain shunt revisions, and the list still goes on. That isn't even everything.
You know, like I said earlier, I'm hoping LinkedIn users, Christiana. Like I said earlier, we are the product of our experiences. And what I know of you, Michelle, which I'm sure many people know, but I know too well, I know very well, you are super talented at especially creating those strategies, thinking deeply about the topic, and then coming up with a plan.
It's really just reverse engineering.
Yeah, but I'm saying that's a skill. It fits the formula, Michelle. It fits into you have the skills that people want, that people need, right? You're doing something that people need. Whether you're using tools that you know how to manipulate better than others, which I know you do. I'm saying that's a skill in itself, right? And you are brilliant at doing what you do. And I don't work with people who are not very good at what they do, Michelle. I really don't, because it costs me money, it costs me time, and that upsets my little spirit. The very little spirit I have.
I love you, and we do great work. Even those, 3 a.m. misalignments sometimes. I don't think it is what it is.
Nothing is mutual. Look, I don't race statistics can't live without you. Again,
and I can't live without don't raise statistics.
Yeah, but you are the brand. You are indispensable to the mission.
I'm the personal and professional all-in-one that everybody says is not possible.
Right. I'm saying that's the point, right? That's why I know, and I hope you don't doubt that the money will come, because the money will
No,
come.
not never. $14 trillion
Right.
circles the world every single day digitally. Money is not our world's problem.
I agree.
It's humanity.
Totally agree. Exactly. And you are the person who has the wherewithal to do this. This is why I think the topic matters so much. A lot of people wonder, why do they look like they're having such a good time making life so easy? They don't realize that we have to go that extra mile. Michelle B as well. We don't tell the world what yous are doing enough, if you ask me. That's why I talked about personal branding earlier. I'm saying we need to learn to tell the world, that the world realizes you are that person.
I think they realize it.
They're getting there. They're getting there slowly, Michelle.
I mean, the realization of who Michelle Ramos is, when it's actually realized, can be a very intimidating and scary thing. And I'm okay with that.
I think you have to be okay with it. You have to embrace your greatness. This is part of my conversation today. Embrace your greatness and embrace your uniqueness. Embrace your specialness, and expect the world to reward you accordingly. My frustration is that maybe there's two types. There's the ones who say, "Oh, I want more." I'm like, "Are you doing more?" No. Then don't want more. You have no right to want more. Don't listen to me, but I'm saying, you do you, but you're not going to get more because you're not willing to do more, right? And then there's the other lot who say, "Oh, it's not working. Why isn't it working any?" I'm like, are you doing more? Are you offering your customers more than others? Are you doing more? It's like a cyclical argument, right? Unless you're willing to do more, you're not going to get more. If you want more, do more. Damn, it's so easy. It sounds so. That is the long and short of it. And people do this every day, and they get more because the universe always pays those who meet the criteria. Do something that people need. Be the best at it, or the best in your ability.
I mean, there's one thing you're forgetting.
What's that?
Is when you're looking in that mirror and it's that self-reflection, like, ask yourself, do you love you? Because the whole time I was seeking outside validation, I hated myself. And the moment I started living in my purpose and doing what felt right for me, I love myself, and I could give two shits less who doesn't love me.
Again, that is so important, Michelle. If you don't love you, if you don't love the person you are, if you don't love what you do, what you bring, who you be, what you do, if you don't love, if you have any doubt there, like I said earlier, you're telling the world, "I'm not sure." And when you tell the universe, "I'm not sure," guess what the universe will say? "Oh, I'm not sure either." So go with total confidence and total, how to put it, total joy of who you are, and give your gifts to the world. If that's your intention, you will make the money. It might take long. Nothing wrong. It's not. I didn't say it's going to be easy. It might take long to get people to actually pay attention to you, and maybe start giving you the rewards you need. But like I said earlier, the rewards don't always come from our pay. The rewards will come from people who give you a bigger stage to shine. Whether that's speaking gigs.
The rewards come through the healing.
Yeah, that's one of them. But so the financial reward will come in many ways. If you, the way I learned it, Michelle, is simply don't try and pour into a closed cup. Nothing goes in. You have to be open to receive, to get the compensation that you want. And that means adhering to the law of compensation and being that good person that you were born to be, that you are. Be that person. And as Christiana says, embrace your greatness or any will tell you off. No one sees me doing this with Christiana. They don't know how much I go to truly. There's some people, if I could shake them by a tree, do something. I try without shaking them like a tree. Thank goodness we work remotely these days, right? No, it's true. Look, so this conversation I have with many of my clients in one way or another. Some get it, some don't get it. So I'm hoping from today's videos and from today's recording, people who don't get it, go and watch it again. Of course, now get in touch with me, get in touch with the Michelles, get in touch with Coach David. We'll happily share. To get in touch with Cyrus, Michael included. Get in touch. Talk to people. Don't just sit there and I guess it is suffer in silence. It feels like it. Don't suffer in silence at all. Embrace your greatness. Get out there and find out who can help you to reach more people.
I'm the last one at the bottom of the list to get in touch with.
No. Michelle should be number one. No, and put me at the bottom. I'm quite busy. I got things to do, right? I'm not saying you don't, Michelle's. I'm saying I'm busy.
Phone.
It's not. I am very busy. I have a lot on my plate, and I need intentional conversations. So it's not disrespect. It's just if it's really not intentional and really global human impacting, I ain't got time for it.
Yeah, maybe I'm trying to get to another point in your personal compass.
Well, I know, but some people send really rude messages because you don't connect. So I like to be transparent.
Don't talk to them. I'm talking to them. I'm saying show love. Look, the important people, Michelle, are the ones you're here to serve. They're the ones that count the most. Your employer almost doesn't count because, as we've talked about today, your employer will pay you whether you turn up or not most of the time. They'll pay you whether you do great work or not. They'll pay you as long as you do what they tell you to do, right? Whereas the real you, the real us, uses their gifts. We find a way to use our gifts to help people in a way they really need, right? I'm saying, if someone's not in your target audience, Michelle, I don't give them time of day. That's just me. So that I'm harsh. If you're, I love friends, but if you're not a useful friend, you see me start pulling away slowly but surely, and I'll be gone. It sounds harsh, but that's how I am.
But you call me harsher than you at our 2 a.m. calls, so.
Only because you don't connect with anyone, and you don't want to talk to them. You do want to talk to them. I'm sure you do. You want to talk to the nice ones, but you have to kiss enough frogs to find the nice one. You have to kiss enough frogs before you find out which one's the prince in all of those frogs. That's what I'm saying. Analogy, Michelle Ramos. I'm not saying I'll kiss frogs or trying to find the prince. I'm just saying, learn to love them all, Michelle, and then they will come. Some will come good for you. Sarah says, "Don't waste time seeking validation. You can succeed without outside validation. You really can."
Yes, me and him have had great conversations about that.
No, you really can. It's not you can. You must develop that inner personal belief about who you are. That's why when somebody, your personal compass, it means something. That's what carries you through, right? Say the person who has a doubt, who thinks, "Oh, I'm not sure. Am I really?" And so that person is probably stuck. But we have to have that. Now that's gusto. We are that person. The world will see that I'm that person eventually. As long as it takes, I'll just keep delivering to those I serve, and eventually the world will take notice. As someone who's been in business for 10 years, that's my journey. For years, no one cared. Yes, I had to learn how to talk my client's language. That's why I talk about making you famous these days. I had to find the service that people really need. People need marketing, but the people are not willing to pay for marketing, right? What people are willing to do, they want to get you help to publish their books. Yeah, I'll do that. They want bestsellers. Guess who can do those things? Only I can. No, really. I'm saying there's publishers on, like, we know many publishers, right? They're good. I have no problem with them at all. But what I've done is made myself indispensable. Those who want what I do, they would, before they used to argue, oh, marketing, oh, how much? I can do it myself. Bestseller, only I can do it. Only I can give you a guaranteed service. Only, and every time I do it, I get the result my clients want and more. That's my learning, and that's how I fit myself into this picture. Cyrus, share with us, please.
Thank you so much. Can you hear me, guys?
Yeah, perfectly.
Hi,
perfect.
First of all, excuse my disheveled looks today. So,
I love it.
Not in a good way.
I'm just like, look at him. I want to take him home.
All right, so I just wanted to make you guys smile a bit. The conversation was getting a little bit too serious. Life becomes better when you stop taking yourself too seriously. Yeah, take your goals seriously, not yourself, right? So, as I posted in the comments, the only source of validation should be yourself. You can still succeed with or without outside validation. You shouldn't focus on it. Validation is just for parking, isn't it? It's just for, when you park your car and you have to validate that ticket. So now we're more than just parking tickets, aren't we?
Yes.
So some people may agree with what you're saying. Some people may not agree with what you're saying. But if you're a parent, or if you're not a parent, for the next generation, when they're looking back, you do not want to be the loser who never tried, because only losers never try. If you try, and if you succeed, or you don't succeed, it doesn't really matter if you don't succeed. And eventually, 100 years from now, it doesn't even matter if you succeed either, right? So in 250 years, 300 years, everything you have, everything you own, everything you are, will be forgotten. Do you know who your grandparents are? Of course not, right? So the same thing will happen in a few generations, right? So what really matters is now, here and now, right? And it should matter to you, to yourself, because in 200, 300 years, everything you have, and everything you know, and everybody you know will be forgotten, right? So that's why people use the expression "as far as I can remember," because we can't remember everything forever, right? So that, well, then again, I could be right, could be wrong. I'm only human. That's my view. That's what I've learned, right? And it's very limited.
I love it, Cyrus.
And every time I think I know a lot, my mom reminds me, "Don't know enough."
I loved how you put everything, because I understood everything you said. I really loved it. And I've always felt with the universe, whatever you put out, you get back. So if you put out, "I hate you," to someone, you're going to get, "I hate you," right back. If you put out, "I love you," you're going to get, "I love you too," right back. And I've had to live that way my whole life. And then my grandma introduced me to Bob Proctor.
So listen, all of you guys on the stage know, it's like literally two things. Is I only care that when I'm gone and dead, I know Angelina will say I was proud of my mom. And I know that everything I do is for legacy building.
I love that.
And look, again,
fantastic.
Yeah, true. I think we will need to get into legacy building mode, Michelle. I'll say that for sure. Now that's how we're going to get remembered in 300 years, Cyrus. Let's build. Let's go big. Let's impact the world.
Well, if you get big enough to make it impossible for people to remember to forget you in 300 years, now that's a legacy, right?
That's a legacy.
Yeah.
I know someone who did something that people are still referring to it after 2,500 years. Literally, that's metaphorical. He didn't literally turn water into wine, but
we
are still talking about what he did and the rest of the stuff that he did, right? So I'm not going to get religious on you guys, but
I'm halfway there with my 150-year blueprint.
But I'm going to say this. I'm going to finish on this. There's two versions of you. So three actually. One that you are now, one that you could be, and the version that other people see. The version that other people see, there's nothing you can do about that. The version that you are is the result of the stuff that you've done already. There's very little you can do about that either, because it's the result of what's happened in the past. But this is where things get exciting. What you could do and what you could be in the future, hopefully in the near future, that is where the excitement comes in. I am excited for what's going to happen tomorrow. I am excited for what I've not done yet. And when people listen to your work or to my podcast, I always tell them our best work is the next episode.
It's true. It's true. Christiana jumping up and down. Jesus. Yeah. Okay, Christiana. You get a prize. It's a very small prize, but you get a prize, right? Now, Cyrus, I think it's a good way to end our conversation. But it is about daring to have impact that we're gifted to have. This room is a Being Your Authentic Self and Business room, and it's based on two sets of topics, really: business growth and mindset. When you realize business growth is 98% mindset, 2% skills. That's why I don't talk skills most of the time. Your mindset is where it's at. And so whether you think you can, you think you can't, you're right. So it's better to go with that. You think you can, right? And we really can change the world. Now, all of us can. We really can, really.
Yes.
I would love everyone to believe what you just said, Cyrus. Your future self, which starts today, can have all that you dream of, all that you want. If only you believe that, and those who do believe that, their life changes. They have to follow a few simple principles, and there's 12 universal laws. But Proctor's Mindset Coaching has 12 chapters. It's not rocket science. And look, the day before I heard about mindset, I read The Secret, and I thought, this sounds interesting. But I was just trying to stay happy, right? And then when you start learning about mindset properly from a coach, like having the coach Ashley, for example, from like Donna, your life would change instantly. It's hard to explain. I hope my personal life is happier. Everything's working. My business is working. There was a time when it wasn't working. I thought I probably won't survive another month. But I love the moment when I had to find an answer. So but the mindset part of my learning is what's transformed everything. You can be the same for you, for anyone. I truly believe that. That's why I talk about what I talk about in these rooms, right? But look, thank you so much, everyone. I can't thank you enough. It's nearly 3 hours of our time, honestly. How do we do it? Christiana, thank you so much. You're a star. So sadly, we haven't got our room tomorrow, Christiana and I. So we're having a week off because life has gone in the way. But we'll be back after that. Try and do one of our miscarriage and baby loss rooms next week. And then we'll have a bigger plan, I think. That's what we're working on. But thank you so much, everyone. I can't thank you enough. Enjoy your night. So Stanley's room starts an hour and a half. So do join us. I think Power Thinking is always a good place to be. If you haven't joined before, I'm sure we'll share the link with you, and do join us. Thank you. Thank you, Michelle. I think we're talking bullying next week, right? We'll talk about bullying in your let's talk neurodivergence room next week.
Yeah, we're doing bullies.
Yeah, bullying. How do we tackle them?
And I want to borrow Cyrus's little guy right there.
It's
Be the
fantastic.
like the stress reliever.
It is. I'm like,
Just the hug. That's it.
Michelle, Michelle Ramos, you don't like that sort of thing. It's not a duck, so leave it alone. Is it a duck? No, it's not a duck.
no, not
The duck, I think, is going to become the Cathartic Catalyst's new logo at some point. Let me get through this DRS rebranding, and just give it a few days. Watch out next week. We'll see what next
The
week
duck
brings.
lady, honest. That's how I call you from now on. The duck
No,
lady.
this little guy's name is Orgavino, by the way.
I love Davino. I wish it was real. We need to market it as a real animal, like stuffed animal.
Orgavino. ORGAVINO.
what is it?
Orgavino.
That's the name of this little guy.
Where's one of your clever videos, Cyrus? I'm surprised you're not playing it. So I can give you a few seconds. Someone try
Which video was it? The last one I made.
Yeah, any of them, I think, just to give people an impression of the quality and the message
Yeah, sure.
that you're dropping. So someone tried to bully me recently. Would you believe? No, I don't believe that. So that's just so out of order, right? Well, don't be having it. Really not. So but join us and then let's share some
Adults
strategy.
are worse than kids sometimes.
Yeah, no, for sure. A lot of people are mean. And again, they're the ones who don't deserve to get paid more because they're not giving value. They're sapping people's energies, people's joy. Cyrus, are you going to put a video on screen or are you going to?
Yeah.
Okay. And let's say again, Christiana says, Michelle B and Cyrus, when are we catching up? Why am I saying it for her when she's here?
More wine, more positive, less negatives, less additives, less preservatives. When you share your wine with your friends, family, or your relatives, you pour and share a bottle because you want good vibes and other positives.
We're not sending the video.
Healthy and delicious, just hollow adjectives. If the wine you're sipping is packed with...
Oh, did you say one of the... Okay.
The video. Yeah,
Oh,
that'll be
video,
that.
okay.
They can see, it's Orgavino. They can see it, definitely on there you go.
Oh,
Orgavino.
wow.
She doesn't exist, by the way.
You know what, though? That is just beautiful. It's very clever.
Oh, thank you.
I mean, if that didn't just... And I don't drink wine, like I said. I think I like it on salad.
I think unhealthy food into non-healthy.
That's brilliant.
I tell you.
Let me show you what Annie was talking about because I sent
why you
this
not
is really
saying?
funny, this one.
Christiana, you're on stage now.
There we go.
I know.
Oh, that's
why the bottle got bigger.
wow. Look what he's doing with that on his finger. Wow. Unless they turn water into wine. That is wow. That's I love your what I've always thought wine videos and everything are very classy. And I don't have the palate unless it's on a salad.
Palate, it's wine. You just drink it, don't you? At the palate, I don't know how to have conversations about wine.
No, I am such a lightweight. One, even half a glass of wine would just leave me laughing on the floor.
Annie, I think it's on the screen now. I'm not sure if it's there or not. Yeah.
No, it's now.
Hi,
Yeah,
Cyrus.
Thank you.
honestly, I would go buying the wine bottle just because I like and it's a very classy wine bottle. I do, like I said, I think wine bottles and everything are very classy. It's not like your Jack Daniels, you know.
That's what I like. I'd rather drink Jack Daniels thanks because I know I can get proper hammered and then be asleep within within a few minutes. That's my thing, right? Look, Cyrus, Michelle, subscribe to Cyrus's newsletters and his updates.
Hi, Cyrus. Hi, Annie. Hi, Michelle. Hi, Michelle.
Christiana, how are you?
I am awesome, thank you. Great to
I miss you,
here.
Christiana. I miss you.
I know, I miss you too. We're supposed to be having a catch up. I think we need to arrange a catch up at some point.
Call me woman. I mean, don't call me a woman. I mean, come on, woman.
I love you guys. Call me.
When I call you, there's a woman in your life that's more important than me, and that's your mother. So you know,
I'm so sorry. Yeah, when you called me, I was talking to my mom, and
exactly.
when I'm talking
to that first.
Yeah, when I'm talking to that fierce woman, there's no interruption. Sorry.
I wouldn't dare interrupt that conversation.
Yeah, I was connected to the source.
That's awesome.
I mean, she's the reason why I'm still single. Every girl I end up with, she brings me back to the manufacturer with a massive complaint.
So my God. With you guys.
Honestly.
Cyrus, my son says the same thing. My 25-year-old, my Bryson, my middle son, he's just like, and now I can't get married. Have you met my mom?
Poor child.
No, honestly, my mom's brilliant.
Well, I feel bad about that.
No, honestly, she's funny in more than one language, so that's what I like about her.
I love
of course,
that.
she swears in more than one language too, of course.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Christiana, what do you want to share with us? Who dared to bully you? Did they really?
No, they tried, but they didn't succeed. You know, I know where the bodies are buried. I'm joking.
I know where the bodies are buried. Have you been to our mining towns lately?
That's what I said to them.
I'll be good. I'll be good.
I am
Don't bring out the bad.
It's like, excuse me, do you know who you were talking to? That's all she had to say. Like, who are you talking to?
Right. Do you know who I am?
Right.
You know.
Oh goodness me! I tend to reserve my whipping for later. Literally.
Well, no, someone's actually said that before.
Friday night, Christiana, is not the same Christiana we see all week. I'm sure it is.
What do you mean?
Yeah.
Oh, look at that!
You're always nice, unless you're not.
This is I always am. That's the reason why there are no bodies hanging around, you know, dead somewhere.
They've been hidden and buried. Right.
Too nice.
Yeah. Now, what's your take on our conversation about compensation? Now you were here for that, right?
Yes, compensation is a good one. I think the biggest thing about compensation for me, I agree with what Michelle Ramos said, is legacy. The whole purpose of compensation, and if it's not in your mind, let it be in your mind, is the legacy that we leave. And most people might believe legacy is something that, you know, is a plaque on the wall or plaque on the benches when we're dead and gone. Actually, your legacy is right now, you know, and after you're gone, it continues to breathe life and it continues to live and not exist. So it's really important. And also I agree, validation shouldn't come from anybody else. You know, not even yourself. Should you be seeking validation for yourself? Because it begins with knowing who you are and understanding your purpose and why you're here. And the three things that Bob Proctor spoke about is the reason why we can even dare to ask for more with what we are doing. Being able to one, I guess you can phrase it in the terms of niche, being that niche in your the best herd, because it's not the best that always gets you know, what they want or gets paid the most. It's the best known and the best heard. that gets to command that fee. That's why it's important that we remain visible. You know,
the personal branding I was talking about. You know, package yourself and make sure everyone knows. Put yourself out there.
Yes, get your wine bottles out. I'm joking.
but that comes from helping more people. I don't know. I'm agreeing.
Is it the weekend already, Christiana?
Sorry?
Is it the weekend already?
Oh,
it's
always a weekend to me. What can I say?
It's always 5 p.m. somewhere.
Every day's a weekend.
It's Wednesday.
Why wait for the weekend when you can have it right now?
I got books to publish, so
yes.
I can't be drinking Sapporo Sarafino. So Saporafino. My eyesight's terrible.
That's Sapporo Soprafino. That's how Italians say it.
Sapporo
Soprafino. That's exquisite taste.
I'm British, don't forget. As Coach keeps reminding me.
It's all right. I'm sure someone's going to find a cure for that.
We forgive you. We forgive you.
Oh my gosh, funny. I love you guys, but you know what? I got to go water grapes because I've got water backed up out there. And I told you an hour ago I had to go be a water.
Yes, no, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
We'll catch up, Michelle, by the way.
Definitely.
I just saw the neighbor rancher driving by the house. That's why I just looked out the window and he's probably like, why doesn't she have her water gates open yet? You know,
Does he sound like that?
Yeah, he does. He's mean. He's 97. And he's a dick. Yeah.
That's his legacy.
Yeah, and he has only one leg, and I didn't know this. No, and I didn't know this because he does have a fake leg, and so he did jump down into the ditch one day, right? And I had walked away from the ditch to where I could only see his head, and as I was walking up to the ditch, he threw his leg up on the top of the bank, and I started screaming. And he had his hand down. He's all, help me up. And here's this fake leg sitting there. And I didn't know what to do. I was just like,
Eddie, you can't write the scripts, can you?
You really can't. This is why I say we always need people to come on stage. You know,
I think Michelle should write. I think Michelle should write because the way you're looking at things is beautiful. I love it.
You know, just wait. It gets better. He's walking towards his truck one day, and I'm looking out my window, and I see him walking towards his old truck. Well, here comes his little dog. He takes off his leg and he swings at it, and I'm just like, oh my god! I'm like, I don't know. So am I scared of him? It's not that I'm scared of him, but that leg.
Be scared of the leg. Be scared of his leg for sure.
My neighbor Michelle, we had a neighbor and he had this prosthetic nose.
Oh.
And they looked for him and they couldn't find him anywhere. And they think he was dead or something. And you know, the police went to the house and guess what they found?
His nose.
Nobody knows.
I knew we were going somewhere untoward.
Yeah, I set her up, didn't I?
Yeah, you did. Like a kipper. Michelle, enjoy your evening. Enjoy your watering. Michelle Ramos has turned into a duck. Which is
I love
amazing.
her ducks because she always has.
I like that duck. That's brilliant.
Bye, Michelle. We're going now anyway. So we're going.
Guys, it was a pleasure meeting you here.
Good to see you all.
Please,
2 weeks time, my friends. If
Christiana, call me as soon as you want. And Annie, it was a pleasure. Michelle, thank you. Michelle, thank you. Have a good one, guys.
Bye.
Take good care of yourself.
Take care.
Without champagne or rum, but she's success, we go both at me.